I'll never forget the day I stumbled upon the forbidden floor in the hospital basement. I was a young nurse, eager to prove myself, and had been assigned to the night shift at St. Michael's Hospital. The hospital was a maze, with corridors stretching out in every direction, and I often found myself getting lost on my way to the supply rooms or the cafeteria. One night, while searching for a spare blanket, I wandered further than I ever had before, my footsteps echoing off the cold concrete walls. I had been warned by my colleagues about the basement, how it was off limits, how the elevators didn't even stop on those floors. But I had to see it for myself. As I made my way down the stairs, the air grew thick and heavy, like a physical presence that pressed against my skin. I could smell the stench of decay and rot, and my stomach churned with a growing sense of unease. The stairs led me to a narrow corridor, lined with old pipes and flickering fluorescent lights. The walls were covered in peeling paint, and the floor creaked beneath my feet. I walked for what felt like hours, the silence broken only by the sound of my own breathing. And then, I saw it, a sign that read, "Floor 13 feet" in crooked, handwritten letters. I felt a shiver run down my spine as I realized that this was the forbidden floor. The one that didn't exist according to the hospital's official maps. I pushed open the door, and a musty smell wafted out, making my eyes water. The floor was dark, the only light coming from a few faint emergency lights that cast eerie shadows on the walls. I stepped inside, my heart pounding in my chest. And that's when I saw them, the rooms, dozens of rooms, each one filled with old hospital equipment, rusted and decaying. But it was what was on the walls that made my blood run cold. Patient records, taped up in neat rows, each one detailing a different person's medical history. I saw names, dates, and diagnoses, but it was the final entry that made my heart stop: deceased. Every single patient on that floor had died. And yet, the records seemed to go on forever. I felt like I was walking through a graveyard, the silence and darkness suffocating me. And then, I heard the whispers, faint at first, but growing louder, until I could make out the words, "Get out while you still can." I turned to run, but it was too late. The doors slammed shut behind me, and I was plunged into darkness. I stumbled through the blackness, desperate to find a way out. But every door I opened led to more rooms, more patient records, and more whispers. It was then that I realized I was not alone on that floor. I was surrounded by the spirits of the dead patients, their voices whispering in my ear, warning me to leave. But it was too late. I had seen too much, and now I was a part of it. As I stumbled through the darkness, I felt a hand grasp my shoulder, spinning me around. And that's when I saw it, a patient record, with my own name on it. The diagnosis was terminal, and the final entry read, "Deceased." I tried to scream, but my voice was drowned out by the whispers, which grew louder and louder, until everything went black. When I came to, I was back on the main floor, lying on a hospital bed, surrounded by my colleagues. They told me I had fainted, that I must have hit my head on the floor. But I knew the truth. I had been to the forbidden floor, and I had seen the horrors that lurked within. I never went back to that hospital again. But the memories of that night have stayed with me, haunting me to this day. And when I close my eyes, I can still hear the whispers, warning me to stay away from the basement, to never go back to that forbidden floor.